Hello and welcome to Reality Check. Hi, I'm Mark Pellegrino, and today I'm going to talk about immigration. Now, for a long time, America was known as the land of immigrants, and that title was well earned since everyone who was here came from somewhere else. I know, you'll say natives weren't immigrants, but they were. They just immigrated a super long time ago, so we sort of act like they've always been here, and that's okay. 12,000 plus years seems about as close to always as anyone's going to get. The point is, people move. And after the discovery of America and its subsequent political liberation and economic development, people wanted to move here. You see, America was a new kind of society where social and economic ceilings, which were permanent features of the old world, were for the most part legally removed. And the power of the political class was hobbled to such a degree that economic mobility was a real possibility for anyone with the gumption to try to improve his social and economic station. And that's why people move, you know. They move to improve their lives. And the fact that America became a primary destination for those seeking self-improvement and were welcomed, as the Statue of Liberty so eloquently proclaims, was no mistake. Because immigration, or the free movement of a person from one country to another, is a right. And America is the fountainhead of rights. Wait. What? I know, to say immigration is a right is a controversial thing nowadays for a few reasons. The first is that rights have little to no meaning anymore since they became conflated with needs and entitlements to stuff in the middle of the 20th century. This primacy of entitlement to stuff has created a social political system called welfare statism. And welfare statism, aside from its inherent immorality, is an inflexible system that cannot tolerate influxes of potential dependents. And any who do come in inspire the deep resentment of those forced to subsidize them. And can you blame them? Moral cannibalism makes people mad, even when they agree with its premises. The second reason for the immigration as a right controversy is the reemergence of a populist-based economic nationalism. This orientation to production and trade attempts to hobble competition from foreigners because they conflate economic isolationism with prosperity and competition with national dominance. The reasoning behind this simplistic worldview is as follows. Nations that can produce goods more cheaply threaten businesses at home, and so are excluded from domestic markets by the liberal use of tariffs or taxes that artificially raise their prices to levels that won't compete with domestic industries.
Out. Get out.
Done.
Excuse me? Get your things and get out of my office now. Come on, let's go.
Now, this same logic extends to people. Immigrants compete for jobs. That competition lowers the price of wages and pushes Americans out of the job market. Keep in mind, this logic stands for the economic nationalist, whether the people come here or the jobs go there. In either case, the immigrant or foreigner is blamed for some level of needless economic distress. The third reason immigration as a right falls flat today is the popularity of cultural homogeneity, or, from the opposite perspective, the popularity of anti-multiculturalism. Now, while it's true that multiculturalism is a poisonous ideology that attempts to paralyze a person's moral sense by the erroneous claim that all cultures are equal, in ways that are never quite specified, by the way, a larger and larger group of nationalists are framing the defense of Western culture and even American values from an ethnocentric point of view, in effect racializing Western civilization and Americanism and its success. And while it's true that American culture, that rugged individualism, self-sufficiency, inventiveness, and independence associated with America is being diluted, and that Western civilization is itself under attack, the most significant salvos against all of these have come from Americans themselves, not immigrants. Lest we forget, it was Americans who have been steadily eroding the Constitution's checks on government, and not just Americans who are educated in Germany and imported a Bismarckian social ethics, but the rank-and-file American too. He has been a co-conspirator in trading the legacy of American liberalism for the lie of protectionist safeties and a paternalistic state for over 100 years. Okay, this all could explain a certain hostility to immigration because people are looking at relationships between people and nations as inherently conflicting. But even if that's an error, how can I make the claim that immigration is a right? Well, think about it. Rights, or freedoms from coercion, are a precondition for the preservation of human life and safety in society. If people must be free to think and act in in order to live, then how can you exclude free movement from that action? What is the pursuit of happiness but the capacity to act in your own interest without interference from others? A capacity that must include the freedom to move from a bad place to a better one. In a proper world, i.e. one in which rights were truly understood, respected, and protected, people would be allowed to move freely between states to vacation, work, or live, because free movement is as important to human well-being as property and freedom of conscience. When I say free movement, I mean just that, without the permission of the state in the form of permission certificates like passports or visas. But the current political climate is hostile to rights in general. Both sides of the American political aisle seem more interested in promoting their tribe's ideology over the necessity of universal rights. And so we have the bizarre spectacle of the Republicans, who emancipated the slaves and attempted to carry the banner of classical liberalism's rights-centered ethics into the 20th century, promoting an anti-immigrationist position in the name of European-style nationalism. And the Democrats, who supported a feudalistic, paternalistic, and segregated society, promoting a pro-immigrationist position in the name of acquiring more constituents and dependents to its paternalistic state. Neither side recognizes the right to freely move as a corollary right to the most fundamental right of all, the individual's right to life. They only recognize the benefits that supporting or rejecting immigration has to their particular ideological tribe. But I think it's time to recognize that rights aren't things given to us by political tribes. They can't be adjusted for preference's sake. They can only be established and protected. Let's reestablish freedom of movement as the right it once was, before the bitter walls of nationalism closed around everyone. Check. Hi everybody, if you find this content interesting, please don't hesitate to hit the like or subscribe button, and please follow the link below for a free download of the book that changed my life. I know it can change yours too. Have a great day. Peace.